Hello friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So in this video we will be discussing about assignment number 2C of laboratory practice to web application development. So let's see the problem statement for this assignment. So the problem statement is create an Angular application which will do following actions, that is register user, login user and show user data on profile component. So here I will be showing you how to create this register user and show the data on profile component. So for this we'll need nodejs and the Angular Cli. So we'll start installing that. So for that, import one folder inside your Visual Studio Code. So I have imported a folder with name Assignment-2. So now I'll open the terminal. Then from here, new terminal, make sure you have installed the nodejs. So now here I'll type npm space -- version to verify whether nodejs is installed or not. Okay, so now my nodejs is installed. Now here I'll create one project. So before that I have to install the Angular Cli. So for that the command is npm space install space -g, that is generate space @Angular /CLI @latest, and then we have to hit enter. So now it will take some time and it will install the Angular Cli. So till that we'll see what is Angular and what are its benefits or why we are using the AngularJS. So AngularJS is basically a JavaScript based open source front-end web framework, and it is used for developing single page applications. And then it uses the HTML language as the template language. So we are just using the basic HTML5 language for this assignment. And then some advantages is that we have to write the less code or lesser code is there. Then it uses the MVC, that is model view controller architecture. Then it has some directives and components. So I'm not going into deep of these concepts. So now our Angular Cli is installed, and you will see here 24 packages are looking for funding, and here change 196 package. So now after that we'll create one Angular project. So for that we have to type ng space new space the name of your project. So I am giving the name as part C and I'll hit enter. So now it will create a project with name part C inside my assignment2 folder. So here it is asking you, would you like to add Angular routing? So you have to type Y, or sometimes it will give you yes and no, that is Y, yes and no. So depending on your system it will ask you. So here I'll write Y and hit enter. Now it is asking you which style sheet format would you like to use. So it is already by default selected as CSS. Here you can see that it is highlighted. Using the arrow keys you can select it. So I am keeping it as CSS and I'll hit enter. Now it will take some time to create the project. So now till it happens we'll write the code inside this part C. So click on this part C, your project. Inside that you are having src folder, click on it. Inside that you are having app component, so click on it. And inside that you are having some files. First file is app routing.module.ts. so we are not dealing with this file. So we are dealing with only this CSS file, HTML file and this app.component.ts file. So first open the app.component.html file, and that remove all the content inside this file. So I'm pressing Ctrl A and I'll delete all the content inside this file. So now here what I'll do is I'll write one heading, so that it means that I am creating registration form. So inside that I'll write heading. So for that I am using h1 tag, and inside that you have to use 2 curly braces because we are binding the data from the component.ts file. So for that here I'll write title, title. So this title will be my variable which will be created inside my this app.component.ts, and the value for it will also be assigned in this TS component only. Now after h1 I have to create the form. So for that, here I'll take some input fields using input tag. So input, then type I'll keep as text. Then we are using the ID. So here we have to declare the ID using hash. So hash name. So this name will become my ID for this input type equal to text. Now after that we can place the placeholder, or if you don't want to use the placeholder, then here you can use the label tag also. So here placeholder, I'll write enter your name, and then after that I'll use the name attribute, name equal to name. Then I'll give one br tag. So now I'll copy this whole line, and then next is input type equal to text. So here I'll be creating as address. So input type equal to text, and instead of this hash name I'll use ID as address. Address placeholder is enter your address. Address, and name will be address. Address. The next field I am going to use is about the email or contact. I'll write first contact. So for that also I'll keep the input type as text only. Then name I'll give here contact. Placeholder enter your contact. Contact, and name also contact. Then next field I'll be using email. So for that I'll keep input type equal to email. Then ID I'll give it as hash email. Here I have used input type equal to email. Now here ID I'll use email. And placeholder also enter your email. And name is also equal to email. Now same field I'll copy it, and I'll write the password and date of birth. Okay, so here I'll write password. So I'm not adding the date of birth field. If you want, you can add. Hash password, and we have to change the type also, input type equal to password. So here I will make password. Okay. Then placeholder also input enter your password. And the name will be also equal to password. Yes. So now we have created the form. So now we'll create one button here, and we'll pass these values inside that button. Okay, so function. So here I'll create one button, and inside that you have to write in parenthesis as click. So that means when the button is clicked, we have to call the method. So on click equal click equal to, here we have to create one function. So I will be creating as get value function. get value, and then in parenthesis of that function we have to pass this IDs dot value. So because we want to store the value and then we have to display it, so for that here I'll write name dot value, then comma, second parameter will be address dot value, third parameter will be contact dot value, and fourth parameter will be email dot value. I am not passing the password field because we are not going to display that to the user. Then after this button we have to write some text, so I'll write here register. Okay, so now we have created the button. So now we'll open this app.component.ts file, and inside that we'll create here title is part C, so this value will be binded to this title tag here. So I'll change the title from part C to register form or registration form. Okay, so registration form. Now here we have to store the values of that input field, so for that we have to create some variables. So here first variable I'll create as display name equal to, and I'll keep the value as blank. Then next I'll create display address equal to blank. Similarly display after address we are having contact, right? So display contact equal to blank, then semicolon, then display email equal to single quotes, and then at the end semicolon. So now we have call the function that get value, so here we have to create that function. So here I'll write get value function, and it has 4 parameters. So first parameter is name, so inside this I'll write name colon and type of this variable or the type of data that this variable will contain. So here it will contain string type of data, so I'll write name colon string, then comma, next is address, so address will also be of string type, so string, comma, next is the contact, so we have given the data type or input type for contact as text, so that will also be here string, and then next is the email colon string. Okay, email. So now next after that we have to give the curly brackets, and inside that curly brackets we have to use this dot this variable name, that is display name, because we have kept the value as empty, so we have to give some value. So for that we will be using here this dot display name. Okay, so this dot display name equal to, and the value that it will store is this name variable, because we have used this name variable inside our form. So here it will store the value of name inside this display name variable. So here I'll write display name equal to name, and then semicolon, and next for all the fields, that is this dot display address equal to address. Then next is contact, so this dot display contact equal to contact, and next is this dot email equal to email. Now here this dot display email. So this dot display email. Okay. So now we have done with our this app.component.ts file. So now we'll be using this name, display name, display address, display contact, and display email variables to display our data, because we have given the value inside that by using this function. So now we'll save this file. Again we'll go back to our app.component.html file, and below button we'll give some h1 heading, and then we'll write here your registered data. Registered data. And then after that I'll use the paragraph tags to display the individual field. So now I'll write here paragraph tag, and inside that we have to write suppose name, then colon, and for calling that variable we have to use double curly braces, and inside that we have to give the name of that variable. So here I'll be writing display name. Then after that I'll give one br tag. Then next paragraph I'll create. Okay, so as I am creating new paragraph, so there is no need for this br tag. It will automatically be displayed on the next line. So now after name I'll display here address colon, and then in curly braces display address. Okay, and then next is the contact. So here contact colon, in curly braces display contact, curly braces close. The next field is email. So email, then curly braces, and inside that display email, then curly braces close. So we have displayed the name, address, contact, and email. So now we'll save it, and in the terminal we have to now use the Ngsurf command to compile our program. So here we have to type ng space serve, but before that you have to check your directory. So see here my directory is till the assignment2, but I am having the Angular project inside this assignment2, so I have to change this directory to the part C. So before running this command I'll use cd command to set my current directory to part C. Okay, so cd space part C, and then I'll hit enter. Now my directory is correct. Now I'll run ngsurf command, and then I'll hit enter. It will compile your program, and it will by default open it in your default browser. So here you have to type y, so it will take some time. Yes, so now our program is successfully compiled. Here you can see that compiled successfully, and here you have to open the browser on http localhost 4200 by clicking on it, or you can copy it and paste it in your browser if it's not opened by default. So now I'll copy this, or you can just hover it and just click follow link, so it will open in your browser. So see, we have the registration form, and here your registered data heading. So now here I'll type the name, then address, inside name we have to type the name. So I'll type here Yogesh, then address I'll type Pune, then contact I'll write some random, then email, so I'll write email, something dummy email, then password I'll write something 123456, and then I have to click on this register. After that I'll be able to see my data which I have entered inside this form will be displayed on the page. So you can format the CSS, you can apply CSS, you can take this form at the center, you can increase the height and width of this input fields, then you can apply the text color for this headings. So I'll be showing just the padding and applying this margin to this input form. So for that I'll open my Visual Studio, and inside that you have here on the left panel app.component.css. so inside this you have to apply your CSS. So I'll use the CSS to my input tag, and then I'll use width colon, I'll give width as suppose 400 pixel, then I'll give height colon equal to suppose 25 pixel, then I'll give margin to it of 10 pixel, and last the padding. So padding I'll give as 5 pixel. Then I have to save it, and if you saved it, it automatically compiles. So you have to just open your browser. So see, now my form is having some margin and the height and width is changed. So you can also apply CSS to this button. So it working. If I click on register, the data will be displayed. So in this way you can create the login form also and display it on this side of this page. So that's it for this assignment. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. So in a nutshell, we'll see what we have done. So in this app.component.html file, we have used the h1 tag, and inside that we have called this title using this binding, data binding, and this title is written in our app.component.ts file. Then we have created a form using input tag, and inside that we have created the name, address, contact, email and password fields. The ID of each of them is different and they are declared using hashtags, hash symbol. Then we have created one button and applied the click event on it, and we have called the function as get value. It will have 4 parameters: name, address, contact, email, and we are passing the value of these fields to this function. So for that we have used name.value, address.value, contact.value and email.value, and then we have given the name to this button, that is register, and then we have to display this data. So for that I have given again one heading with h1 tag, and then I have displayed the data using paragraph tags: name, address, contact, email, and the value after this name, address, contact and email will be used by this data binding. So for this we have created inside this app.component.ts file. So inside that we have only written this much of the part which is inside this class app component. So here we have given the value for our title variable. Then we have created empty variables: display name, display address, display contact and display email. And then we have created the function that is called inside our HTML file, that is get value, and we have given the parameters with their type of data that they will hold. And then we have used this keyword to assign the value or to give the value inside this display name, display address, display contact and display email variables. So after this our data will be stored inside this display name, address, contact and email, and just we have called that fields inside our HTML page. So that's it for this assignment. So the commands are given in the description box. You can check out the links as well. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. So we'll see in the next video.